How do you build strong team culture? How do you increase motivation and build an environment where people are thriving and performing at a high level? That's what we're going to cover on this training, which we're calling the Meeting Shout Out Playbook. We're going to cover exactly how to roll out a new format or take your existing shoutouts or celebration to the next level. This is all about calling out teams, team members, who on your team is performing well, and there's going to be a step-by-step guide that we cover. So follow along and take your own team celebration to the next level. Now, this tool that we're going to cover today, it's about raising energy. It's about building connection. It's about reinforcing desired behaviors. We want to help people feel seen as well, and it's going to create a positive momentum. Now, some extra thoughts here is that shout-outs, celebration, rewarding or calling out good behavior, it works because it's not just about compliments. When we do this consistently, what we're doing is we're saying, hey, this is what good looks like. This is what behavior actually matters. This is the standard. We're calling that out in people. And when we celebrate these things, it reinforces them. We're covering a part, just a component of the culture building tools. If you've been following along, you know that there's more levers that we can pull to build culture. Here's the 7 tools as a whole. Celebration and discouragement is the first tool that we focus on, because when we install these components within our culture, they often make a quick return of investment. There's an immediate boost or jolt to our team as we focus on that. The 3 thoughts for celebration and discouragement, we're focusing on the first one. What you celebrate gets repeated. In other trainings, we will talk about how to confront things so they don't become our new normal. We want to put our seal of approval on the right habits, the right behavior. So here's a thought before we start on the framework or the playbook itself. A good meeting, a well-run meeting is like a locker room before a championship game. Now think of these sports figures, these big burly men inside of a locker room, and they need 2 things. First of all, they need strategy. And I think we do this pretty well for the most part in business. We get together and we talk about the game plan. What are the plays that we're going to execute on? But that's not all a team needs. That's not all a business needs. Those sports figures, if they're sitting there and they understand, and then they just casually saunter onto the field, and they're just dragging their feet, this is what we often miss out on, this second piece of a well-run locker room meeting. What we really need is fire in our bones, and this shout-out habit helps with this energy, this fuel that keeps people pushing after the goal and beating their chest with energy and defeating the opponents on the other side of the field. Encouragement is fuel for our team. And some people, they might say, I'm not an encourager. People just need to pull up their big boy pants and they need to just do their job. If that's your position, you're missing out on a huge lever to influence and catalyze your team. Encouragement is fuel. The word itself, courage, it literally means to put strength into another person, to strengthen another's spirit. And so when we have these team meetings, these huddle moments, maybe it is a live in person, or maybe it's a Zoom or digital-based meeting, what we have the ability is to fuel our team for success. We all get discouraged. We all feel at times like we got a flat tire. And to keep energy high and to keep people focused on the right thing, we need to look at encouragement as a strategic tool that we can use. So here's how we launch the team huddle, the team shout-out format. If you're already running some sort of celebration moment in your meetings, there'll be some tips and tactics for how to take it to that next level. First step is that it doesn't need to be long. Only 3 to 5 minutes is a good time frame to look for. We're not looking for a long discussion. We just want to keep consistent reinforcement of the right behaviors, and we want to call things out so that people feel like what they've done actually matters. 3 to 5 minutes, that's the goal as we're looking to roll this out. And we want it to be regular. So start by considering where in your week does this need to happen. Now, in the past, what I've done is every meeting has this to some degree. All team huddles, one-on-ones, manager meetings, we start with some sort of who did what well. Who can we celebrate? Or if it's a one-on-one, hey, what are you proud of this week? What was a win that I can celebrate? Maybe I'll call that out in them as well. But the first 3 to 5 minutes of every meeting, that's the best place to get that energy going, to get the people amped up and fueled up. So here's the rollout strategy if you do not have a team shout out segment yet. Don't expect it to just happen. Don't expect people to just get it. Often what happens is leaders might roll this out and you hear crickets. And so what we need to do is create some early momentum. How do we do that? We prime the pump. You're going to find a few people on your team and you're going to say, hey, here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I want to do. We're going to roll this new thing out. We're going to do some celebration and we're introducing it to strengthen culture. We want to make sure we're rewarding and incentivizing and highlighting good habits. And so can you help me? You say this to a few managers or supervisors or encouragers. Joe, I notice you're an encourager, and I'd love if you could help to roll this out. We're going to do it in the next meeting. You give them the heads up. So ask them, hey, can you think of a few people before we get this started? Who deserves recognition? What kind of behaviors can you think of? What impact did it have? And can you share, Joe, can you share 1 or 2 shout outs on this upcoming meeting? In the future, you will not have to do this prep because people will understand what celebration feels like and looks like, and they're going to offer and volunteer more frequently. But if you can get it started by just picking a few people and also yourself, you're going to prepare a few shout outs. So what we want to also do, we're going to go first because we do want to demonstrate the standard. As leaders, we're going to say, here's what it looks like. Hey guys, today we're going to start with some shout outs. This is a new thing we're going to make regular, and we're going to have a few people share some shout outs today. I'm going to go first, and I want to call out, and you name the person. You bring energy. You show the enthusiasm. That's the first thing we want to bring is enthusiasm and energy. The level of detail. Give a standard of what it looks like so that those who follow pick up that pattern and that habit. People are going to learn through observation, and your example is going to set the standard. We do want to focus on behaviors and habits, not just some general fluff. I like Sarah, she's awesome. Hey, you were special. We want to actually give some details and focus on the things that were done, because what we're trying to do is lock in and reinforce this is the thing that we like seeing around here. So you might be something like this. Hey, Sarah, I want to give you a shout out today. Sarah, I saw that you remembered a personal detail from a previous client interaction. And when you brought it up again, it created such a wow experience for that customer because they felt seen and understood. Something like that is so much more helpful because people understand, oh, that's really cool. Let's do more of that. An option to strengthen your culture is when you have core values. And if you understand your values, sometimes your team doesn't know the values. They can't repeat them and they don't know what it looks like. But if you have core values, what you might do is bring that into the celebration moment. When you're doing shoutouts, you might start by saying, hey team, here are the values. Maybe you paste them into the Zoom chat. Maybe you have them up on the wall. Here are the values. Who demonstrated one of our values this week, and what did that look like? And it trains and reinforces the things that should be guiding the decision-making of your team. What does excellence look like? You might call that out. And so when team members can tie a shout out or a praise moment to a core value, it can help to reinforce the values that often get forgotten or left on the sidelines. A simple formula for those who are rolling this out is to start with the person. Who is the person you're giving the shout out to? What is the value that they exemplified? What was the behavior or habit that was an expression of that value? And then finally, what was the impact of that habit? Here's an example. I'd like to give a shout out to John, person, for ownership value. He noticed a problem and he took initiative. He solved it without being asked. That's the behavior. It meant that we were able to keep moving forward where we would have gotten tripped up. That's the impact. Now, do give more details. Be specific. What was the actual thing? That really locks it in on a deeper level. But this simple formula is a great general way to bring a meaningful piece of celebration and a shout out to a team moment. An extra tip here is leader commentary. It doesn't need to be long. We're not giving a speech, but when someone else gives a shout out, we can hop on that moment just to seal in and amplify the moment a little bit. We don't want to zoom forward or zip forward too quickly, so just reinforce what was shared. What that might look like is when someone else gives the affirmation, you might say, I saw that too, Joe. Thank you for calling that out. That was something that I really appreciated. Or you might just give a brief little nugget. That is so powerful because it also does this. And then you move on. Who else? You keep the energy going, but you do hop on these little moments to seal things in as the facilitator and as the leader. Again, we're putting a seal of approval on behavior and also on individuals, and it causes people to say, oh, you noticed. I'm going to do more of that. Or for those who did not get spotlighted, it might cause them to say, is that what it takes to get noticed around here? Maybe I'll start doing that as well. We're reinforcing behaviors. Mix it up from time to time. It doesn't just need to be general, hey guys, who has a shout out? You have the general, who would you like to recognize? You might say, what are you proud of? Give a shout out to yourself. That's a neat way to stir up confidence and cause people to have a little more self-awareness. What can they own about the good behaviors that they've exemplified? Who demonstrated excellence? Who created a great customer experience? Who stepped up and led recently? You might have a few different questions, but just in general, stirring up engagement. What ways can we do that best? A little bit of variety can help. Finally, some mistakes. There's some pitfalls or traps to avoid. There are people on your team, and we all can think of them, where they're the shining star on your team. Don't default to these types of people. Definitely shout them out, but people can get sick of it. If, oh great, another one of him again. We want to mix it up. And we also don't want to make it vague. I used examples earlier. Be specific in your recognition. Don't turn it into a long discussion. 3 to 5 minutes. Keep it short, punchy, powerful. Again, fire in that locker room. We just want to get people amped up, and then we transition into the rest of the meeting. We don't want to force people, and that's why we behind the scenes pull in trusted leaders. We want to increase engagement and get everyone sharing, which will happen as you roll out this habit, this discipline of doing team shoutouts. Also, do not only celebrate results. We don't want to ignore effort, growth, and values. And so there are things behind the scenes that it takes a little bit more attention to notice. Someone tried something new and maybe they failed, but they learned and grew through it. We want to celebrate all the little things that create a powerful culture. Remember, people celebrate. When they're celebrated, it repeats the behavior. So choose carefully, what are you putting your seal of approval on? The bigger purpose here, it's not just about being nice. This is a strategic tool that we have as leaders, these team celebration moments, these team shoutouts. And it's about fueling your team intentionally and shaping culture. As we can reinforce these things through celebration, you're going to begin to see more and more of these habits and behaviors take place. The right things will continue, and all of a sudden, we're going to see people bring a little bit more spark, a little bit more fire to their game. These team meetings, they happen once a week, maybe every other week, whatever frequency. And when they're out on the field playing the game, they're bringing that energy that you injected into your team meeting. So follow these steps. Look below for more information on how to follow this playbook well. This is going to bring so much strength to your team. And whether you're already rolling it out or whether you have had this for a long time, I hope that this brings some great strength to those that you influence.